The sky above Blood Dragon Valley split apart under a blinding arc of a blade. A cold flash tore through the black clouds, unleashing a terrifying force that made the ground tremble as if it were about to collapse. At the center of the battlefield, two figures had just separated after a heaven-shaking clash. One of them was Diep-Than, the young genius of the human race. His white robe was stained with blood, yet his gaze remained as sharp as the blade in his hand. Facing him was Fong Da-Han, a man whose mind had been completely devoured by demonic energy. The next moment, Diep-Than's blade fell. Sever the heavens. A thunderous explosion erupted as the blade's light swept across the sky. Fong Da-Han's body was split apart, blood and demonic energy bursting through the air. His corpse crashed to the ground, all signs of life extinguished. The battlefield fell silent. Everyone believed the battle was over. But at that exact moment, a surge of pitch-black demonic energy suddenly rose from deep beneath the earth like a tidal wave. It coiled around Fong Da-Han's corpse, seeping into every wound, every joint, every bone. Sickening, cracking sounds echoed through the valley. The body that had already died slowly stood up. His eyes opened again, completely black. A hoarse, chilling voice echoed through the swirling demonic mist. "Did you really think killing me would be that easy?" Diep-Than tightened his grip on the hilt of his blade. In that instant he realized something terrifying. The being standing before him now was no longer human. Before Diep-Than could strike again, the ground beneath his feet suddenly began to tremble violently. Demonic energy from Fong Da-Han's corpse continued to spread outward, like living strands of black smoke crawling across the battlefield. That sinister power had not only revived him, it had made his aura far more terrifying than before. Fong Da-Han slowly straightened. The wound that had split his body in two was now being stitched back together by demonic energy, pieces of flesh and bone, reconnecting as if they had never been destroyed. His eyes were completely black. The aura radiating from him turned the surrounding air ice cold. "This isn't ordinary demonic corruption," Diep-Than muttered, his brows slightly furrowed. But the most terrifying part had yet to appear. Right behind the demonic corpse, the ground suddenly split open. From the crack, a black sprout pushed its way upward, its twisted trunk resembling a claw. Within only a few breaths, it grew into a sinister tree as tall as a man. At the top of its branch, a dark crimson fruit slowly formed, releasing such dense demonic energy that the space around it began to tremble. Diep-Than recognized it immediately. Demon blood fruit. Legend said that this fruit could absorb living beings and demonic energy to give birth to high-level demonic creatures. If it fully matured, whatever was born from it would be far more than a simple demonized human. Diep-Than tightened his grip on the hilt of his blade, his gaze darkening, because he understood one thing very clearly. The battle that had just ended was only the beginning of a disaster. Diep-Than understood one thing clearly: if the demon blood fruit continued absorbing demonic energy and living beings, the consequences would surpass anyone's imagination. He could not hesitate any longer. The blade in his hand suddenly trembled as true energy surged like a rising tide. With a swift motion, Diep-Than slashed forward. A streak of silver blade light tore through the demonic mist and struck directly toward the sinister tree. Boom! The blade energy crashed into the trunk, but to his surprise, the demon blood fruit remained completely unharmed. The dense layer of demonic energy surrounding it merely rippled for a moment before quickly restoring itself. At that instant, Fong Da-Han, now fully consumed by demonic corruption, let out a savage roar. He lunged straight at Diep-Than, his aura wild and chaotic. The two figures clashed once again. But this time Diep-Than realized his opponent no longer felt pain, nor fear. After several exchanges, Diep-Than decisively retreated. He could not afford to prolong the battle while the demon blood fruit was still growing behind them. His gaze turned cold. Then, "There's only one way." Diep-Than raised his hand into the air and an ancient stone monument slowly appeared. Heaven Realm Stele, a divine artifact capable of suppressing heaven and earth. The moment the stone stele descended, the surrounding space twisted violently. A terrifying gravitational force erupted directly, dragging the demon blood fruit into its sealing field. But just as the seal was completed, from the distant horizon a massive pillar of battle light suddenly erupted, shaking the very sky. Diep-Than slowly lifted his head. He knew an even more terrifying battle was waiting ahead. The pillar of battle light on the distant horizon continued to erupt, each shockwave crashing toward Blood Dragon Valley like a tidal wave. The moment Diep-Than recalled the Heaven Realm Stele, he immediately rushed toward the source of that overwhelming energy. The closer he got, the more chilling the scene before him became. The battlefield had turned into a living hell. Dozens of powerful warriors from the sacred temple were surrounding a terrifying figure floating in the sky. The man wore black armor, demonic energy surging around him like a raging sea. His crimson eyes looked down upon all living beings, as if they were nothing more than ants. Demon Lord Wu Shang. His mere aura twisted the space around him. Below, the ground was littered with fallen warriors. Those who were still alive were not much better off. Demonic energy had invaded their bodies, turning their eyes slowly black as one after another, they were transformed into slaves of the demon race. But what truly drove everyone into despair was the creature standing behind the demon lord. A gigantic monster roared across the battlefield, the three-headed demon crocodile. All three heads roared at once, while six massive arms swept through the air like a raging storm. With a single strike, a mighty martial emperor was reduced to dust. Diepthan stood on a cliff, looking down at the chaotic battlefield below. Only now did he realize the terrifying truth. The demon blood fruit, the demonic corruption, all of it had merely been a small part of the demon lord's plan. This battle was no longer just a single conflict. It was the beginning of an invasion from the demon realm. The battlefield of Blood Dragon Valley quickly descended into chaos. Under the command of Demon Lord Wu Shang, the three-headed demon crocodile rampaged across the field. Its three massive heads roared in unison, demonic energy surging like a violent storm. Within only a few breaths, two martial emperors were sent flying, their bodies shattered in midair. The remaining warriors began to waver. The demonic energy in the air grew thicker and thicker. Some severely wounded fighters could no longer resist its invasion, their eyes slowly turned pitch black. They turned around and stepped over to the demon lord's side. The human battle line was collapsing piece by piece. At that moment, a commanding voice rang out across the battlefield. This cannot continue. The one who spoke was Ye Tianyang, the Grand Elder of the Sacred Temple. His gaze darkened as he watched powerful warriors fall one after another. He knew that if the battle dragged on any longer, every force here would eventually be corrupted by demonic energy. Without hesitation, Ye Tianyang gave the order. 3 Primarchs form the array with me. In an instant, 3 martial emperor experts shot into the sky. At the same time, they formed hand seals as their true energy surged through the surrounding space. A colossal formation began to take shape. High in the sky appeared 3 towering Dharma avatars, each hundreds of meters tall, each holding an ancient mystical weapon. This was Xie Tianyang's most famous killing technique across the continent, the Lesser Heaven Demon-Slaying Formation. The radiance of the formation spread across the battlefield. For a brief moment, even Demon Lord Wu Shang furrowed his brow for the very first time. The radiance of the Lesser Heaven Demon-Slaying Formation filled the sky above Blood Dragon Valley. 3 colossal Dharma avatars stood towering in the air, each movement shaking heaven and earth. Under the control of Xie Tianyang and the 3 Primarchs, the formation rapidly closed in, completely sealing the area around Demon Lord Wu Shang. Attack! The 3 avatars unleashed their devastating strikes at the same time. Sword light, blade energy, and spiritual seals merged into a massive torrent of power, crashing directly into the center of the demonic storm. For a brief moment, the dark clouds of demonic energy were torn apart. Hope flickered in the eyes of the warriors. But in the next instant, a cold laugh echoed through the black smoke. The demonic energy suddenly erupted violently. From the very center of the formation, Demon Lord Wu Shang slowly stepped forward, almost completely unharmed. In his hand now appeared a pitch-black ancient tower, ancient runes circling its body as if an entire world was evolving within it. It was the primordial Chaos Tower. The moment the tower was activated, the surrounding space warped instantly. A terrifying force exploded outward, shattering the formation from the inside. The 3 towering Dharma avatars crumbled one after another. The martial emperor experts were blasted away like falling leaves. Even Xie Tianyang was forced back hundreds of steps, his face turning pale. Once again the sky was swallowed by demonic energy. The battlefield sank into a silence filled with despair. At that moment, everyone understood a cruel truth. Even humanity's most powerful killing technique could not stop the Demon Lord. The sky above Blood Dragon Valley was engulfed in dense demonic energy. The remnants of the Lesser Heaven Demon-Slaying Formation still floated in the air, but the 3 colossal Dharma avatars had completely shattered. Martial Emperor experts lay scattered across the battlefield, their auras weakened. At the center stood Demon Lord Wu Shang, surrounded by a sea of demonic energy. Behind him hovered the primordial Chaos Tower, rotating slowly like a miniature world. He let out a cold laugh. So this is the final power of your kind. No one answered. Even the warriors who were still standing had begun to fall into despair. But at that very moment, another aura suddenly spread from behind the human battle line. Xie Tianyang slowly straightened his posture. This time there was no hesitation in his eyes. The formation is not finished yet. He raised one hand toward the sky. The remaining fragments of the formation suddenly lit up again. Ancient runic lines reconnected one after another, forming a massive vortex in the sky. Space trembled. The dark clouds were torn apart. A massive rift of light opened within the clouds above. From that crack in the heavens, a blazing beam of heavenly radiance descended. The light carried the overwhelming authority of the heavenly Tao itself, causing the entire battlefield to tremble. Even the smile on Demon Lord Wu Shang's face suddenly froze. Xie Tianyang shouted, "Heaven Light Demon Annihilation." The divine beam from the heavens shot straight down toward the battlefield. And in that moment, Humanity's hope appeared once again. The Heavenlight demon annihilation tore through the sky and crashed straight into the center of the battlefield. The blinding radiance exploded like a second sun over Blood Dragon Valley, dragging all the demonic energy into a massive storm of power. Boom. Heaven and earth shook violently. Shockwaves spread for hundreds of miles, sweeping away every remnant across the battlefield. The surviving warriors were forced to retreat, barely able to withstand the overwhelming pressure of that heaven-shaking force. At the center of the explosion, Demon Lord Wushang roared in fury. The primordial Chaos Tower spun wildly, struggling to resist the power of the heavenly light. The two terrifying forces collided, tearing the surrounding space apart again and again. Finally, a thunderous explosion erupted. The light slowly faded. The demonic energy dispersed piece by piece. No one knew whether the Demon Lord had been destroyed or merely gravely wounded. Tianyang dropped to one knee, breathing heavily. The formation had consumed nearly all of his strength. In the distance, Diep Than had just arrived at the battlefield. He looked up at the sky, which was slowly returning to calm, his expression darkening. He knew one thing clearly. If the Demon Lord was still alive, next time he would have to use the Heaven Realm Stele to seal him forever. But deep beneath the valley, an ancient seal had begun to tremble. The true Demon Sovereign had not yet awakened. If you want to know what will happen when the Demon Sovereign awakens, comment 1 and I'll write part 2 of the story.